like the training per se. Now I'd like to open it up to like discussion, questions, anecdotes,
Yeah,
anything's
can you,
unclear.
Liaison person for a group we call ourselves the American Coalition for Good Government. And I don't have to give you my history. You all basically already understand the history of us as a people, but good government is what we're trying to stand up for. So when I come to these kinds of affairs, I'm trying to hear the citizenship knowledge that needs to be transmitted to you young people, because I don't care how we look at it as citizens, the young people are our future. And if I can just say that I'm not racist in my thoughts or anything like that, and I probably got every right to be, but that's not going to get us anywhere, because when we send overseas to fight these wars for the freedoms that we're all over here right now and even enjoying, come back home and have to see things like this, it's almost like a shame, almost say America's going down in civilization. But if you're innocent until proven guilty, I don't never hear that concept for y'all to be saying. Because a lot of this could be cured for two things. Number one, if you are innocent, where is your innocence? Are you really saying that you would like to be able to do the things because you're free to do the things that's illegal to do, cause your behavior to be funky, disrespect law and authority? Do you really want that kind of freedom, or do you want the kind of freedom to make people say, listen, I'm a principled person. I have dignity. I have some respect that you have to give to me. So if I'm innocent, then you have to prove that I'm guilty. Everything I'm hearing is you almost have to say, I got to prove my innocence. And that's not the way really the law really is designed. Secondly is, when you say consent, you got to know who you're consenting to. Because I just told you, big business, the judicial systems, and the law enforcement are all working together, because this is a free, way they're making money, period. It's free enterprise, capitalism, all that old good stuff. And if we're going to navigate ourselves through this so that we can become better citizens in America, then we have to know that they are not the authority. And that's where you're missing it. My innocence is not connected to the Constitution's authority unless I understand what the Constitution's authority is really saying. It doesn't say man is, it doesn't give me as a basic or an identity to say that any particular race or any particular nationality runs or controls the Constitution of the United States. Okay? So I'm just saying, if our innocence is that, then that means we all have to come back to like what is called a common nature, a commonality that we have among ourselves to say, we just demand to be principled people, and when we demand to be respected by the police, and that's how we deal with it with accountability. Because until we talk to those police officers in the street like y'all are filming, what you're actually doing is you're infuriating some, and you're really getting a chance to educate the others. But you come in my community, because there's gangs on both ends of the stick, there's gang police, and there's gangs among the young people, because of this lifestyle that's being promoted by business. This rap music and all the rest of that stuff is really, it's causing them to clash like this. So they're losing their innocence, and they're trying to still say, hey look, I'm just doing my thing. I didn't do anything wrong, he just been saying. I didn't do anything wrong, because that person thinks that this lifestyle that he's living is not wrong, because he's been promoted to think that that's right, and it's not right, it's wrong. So we got work to do. And I'm willing to help.
Can I respond to one of the things you said?
Yes, sir.
You brought up being innocent until proven guilty, and if I'm not mistaken, that is applicable in the court of law, not when you're dealing with the police officer. Am I correct there?
No,
Innocent and proven guilty, that's determined by the court if you're arrested.
I don't know
It
about
starts at home, bro.
Yeah.
that.
It's just a matter of
This guy was talking about, like you raised a good point that I wanted to make sure to address about what if I'm trying to assert my rights, but I'm alone and there's nobody to know that I refuse to search or something like that. So one of the strategies that we use, we're all members of Cop Watch, and in addition to trying to teach people about their rights, we film the police when they're interacting with the public to make sure that they have to respect these rights. Because as we know, cops violate people's rights all the time. They beat people up, they kill people, and sometimes they get away with it. Often they get away with it. So what we do basically is anytime cops are interacting with the public, we film everything the cops are doing. So that way, hopefully, if you are, being pulled over, there's a video record of what happened, what you said, and what the cops tried to do. In addition to us doing that, we're trying to spread that as a practice to everybody, so that everybody both knows what their rights are in terms of filming the cops, and is prepared to do it, both for themselves and for other people that they see getting hassled by the cops. We actually have a whole other training, as Earthworm talked about at the beginning, that builds on this one, builds on what your basic rights are, and teaches you how to film the police in a way that's safe, that's legal, and that's effective at disrupting their ability to violate people's rights. And we encourage all of you to come to that one sometime. It's really cool. There's like more advanced role plays, and you get to learn a lot about how to hold the cops accountable. So you can probably sign up for that at the list out of the table there, I guess.
That's actually really interesting. Could you just, you have kind of the highlights up there. Can you do that of your second speech kind of now? I think that might be helpful.
Well,
Don't talk to the cops.
don't talk to the cops. The short story is you have absolutely.
How do you, because I have a phone, that can record.
Right.
It.
The
Like, how do I
cliff
bring
notes,
up
the
that
most
subject
important
to
thing is you
gonna
have
record
absolutely the right to film the police
Okay.
in the U.S. You have the right to film any person in public, including the police, and they cannot order you to stop. In particular, in Atlanta, the police department have policies which prevent them from interfering with your right. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't beat the crap out of you for trying to film them. It just means that would be illegal. So there are precautions and things you need to be aware of when you're trying to do that, which is what we get into in the training, right, is how to exercise that right in a way that's effective and safe.
Do you know if the same goes for audio? And do you have to
Yes.
inform them that you are recording
You do
audio?
not.
Okay.
Just building on that too, if you do run into that situation where a cop has, not paid attention to your not consenting, and you end up in court, that's going to be a matter of fact that's going to go to the jury. And so if you can bring up your friend, and your friend goes, yeah, this guy every day he reminds me not to consent to searches. He has a T-shirt that says, I don't consent to searches. The jury's gonna hear that, and they're gonna go, oh, maybe these officers are lying when they say he didn't consent to searches. This guy sounds like he's a guy who knows his rights. If you can say, hey, I went to this Know Your Rights workshop, on this, I've talked to these people, that's all gonna help you in the eyes of the jury.
So you're asking the judge really just let that money go, he getting ready to make.
You guys,
You brought up a point that I want to touch on about the knives and what's too long and what circumstances we have it under and stuff that might get tripped up. And that's actually relevant to me because I do a lot of backpacking and camping, and part of my gear is a folding knife that I use at campsites and stuff. And on the way back, I find I end up with it in my pocket in the car or whatever. And it became a topic of conversation with one of my friends, and we were like, hey, what happens if we get pulled over and I've got a weapon in my pocket? Getting a carry permit is actually fairly painless, fairly easy, and covers your ass on a lot of stuff related to that. So it's when you consider if you're ever carrying a knife for any reason, or a gun, or whatever. Even just transporting them, the laws go from really squirrely and changing to pretty clear cut.
other questions,
Anecdotes,
comments?
stories.
Yeah, just emphasize the need to film. I almost wanted to clap after every skit. I thought they were on point, and film was really good. But the filming, I think, is very key. So I would encourage everybody to film all your interactions with police employees. And they have resources on their website. And there's a document at CopLock called Cop Locking 101 that you can just look for. And it has like a breaks down how to maybe conduct yourself if you happen across a police officer.
We want to set up a how-to cop watch training in December. So, and the date's not set for it yet. So, if you all want to sign up, if you're interested in that, give us your contact info. And if you want to put like a date range that works for you, that'd be helpful in us setting the date as well, or dates that don't work for you.
So I had a couple things that maybe I'd be interested in getting feedback on. When I am being pulled over by the police or stopped by the police, I run the audio recorder on my phone and I don't tell them that it's running just because I have always felt that if I'm like trying to conduct myself like with them and I'm like filming them, camera in their face, that they could potentially just like grab the camera and turn it off and destroy the evidence or whatever. Another way to get around that would be using like a live stream app that puts the video on a server so that they can't confiscate your camera and destroy it. And even informing them, I am videotaping you and it's streaming to a server, you can't, you know, whatever. I don't know how anybody feels about that.
I think don't you have to let the officer know that you're recording them?
Georgia,
It's a state law, it's a state by state
Changes
bill.
over
Yeah, by state.
It's by state, but no time in any state that somebody's been arrested for doing that, like the wiretapping, has that actually held up. And there have been some pretty high, not the Supreme Court, but pretty high courts that have been like, yeah, that's not, like, you're allowed to film the cops, that's not a good reason to arrest somebody.
Even if they go so far to say that you're interfering with their,
Well, interfere, you're not
duties.
supposed to interfere, that's different.
Yeah, that's part of our cop watch training as well, but like what we usually do, like if we're like especially observing a scene where we're not the ones being detained, we'll ask them like, I'm just here, we'll tell them straight up like we're just here to observe, we're not intending to interfere, like where can we stand, etc., etc. And yeah, that all is covered in our cop watching training, but those are just some things we say to counter that.
But they might treat you really differently if you're like cop watching and filming someone else interacting with the police
Yeah.
than if you're actually in the situation, like say totally isolated, no one else is
Absolutely.
around, and it's just you, the cop, and your camera. So, yeah.
You can add a camera or two.
Yeah,
Install it in your
There are
car.
important things to consider about filming the
Yeah.
police. While it's your right, there are a lot of risks and benefits associated with it. So it's something we encourage people to like learn more about. You know, come to our training, do more research online, check out the CopBlock website. Like, you know, find out about it before you just like jump in and start filming cops.
Yeah.
That's one way to find out about it,
But yeah.
This is why I upload, I just do audio and I have it streamed to a server, so they never have to know that I'm doing it. And should they violate my rights in that stop, I then know that I have an account online where this audio is, and I can access it later for my lawyer or court or whatever. So.
Yeah.
can I make an announcement about an event this
Yes,
Saturday?
please.
There's a End Mass Incarceration Drug War Conference in Little Five Points on Saturday at the Little Five Points Community Center from 3 to 7. Great event. I think a lot of you guys would be interested in a lot of the topics there.
Should go.
So
We're gonna be
yeah,
there.
cool.
Yes. Yes, that sounds like a really good event. It's from 3 to 7, I believe. There are
Yeah.
several different panels. But yeah, I highly recommend that. I'm really excited for it, at least.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.